James Simmers again, Moraine Park Technical College Culinary Arts Instructor. We have the holidays coming up. A lot of people are going to be doing a lot of cooking, I hope, in your kitchen there, getting some use out of it. One of the things you might want to do, something a little different than traditional turkey or ham, is we're going to do a roast beef today. We're going to show you how to roast it, simple, easy, but also how to carve it. There's a special way to carve it. So, first off, I got my top sirloin roast here. You can get what you'd like. I really advise you to consult a butcher. They know what they're talking about. They can guide you in the right way as to what you're looking for in a roast. You want a lot of flavor, you're looking for a lot of tenderness, what's your preference? So talk to your butcher. He or she can help you a lot. So next thing we're gonna do is very simple. We have I got a top sirloin here, top sirloin roast right here, and I've let it sit in the fridge open for one night, just overnight, and that just helps to kind of seal the outside a little bit. That's gonna help to retain the juices. I'm also gonna add a little bit of seasoning here. This is a seasoning mix I make. It's got some salt, some black pepper, and dill in it. Actually, just a little bit of dill seed, not the dill weed. The dill seed actually has a little more flavor and works better in the oven as well. Meanwhile, I've preheated my oven to 450 degrees. That sounds really hot, but what we're gonna do is we're gonna leave it at 450, then we're gonna reduce it back down to 350 after about 15 minutes. Okay, so first we're gonna take our seasoning and rub it in really well. And the salt I use is kosher salt because it has a larger grain and it won't quite seem so salty when we try to rub the roast like this, okay? If we use just a regular table salt, probably what's gonna happen is those outside pieces are gonna be really, really salty. Next thing I'm gonna do is take some fresh chopped garlic, not out of a jar, not a powder. We're gonna freshly chop some garlic. We're just gonna rub that on it as well, okay? Take that, and you might say this looks a little fatty, but we gotta remember one thing. Well, we've been trained to look at fat as being bad. It's good when it comes to flavor. The reason is it helps it to retain the juices, it makes it juicy, it also gives it the flavor that we like, that bite that we like where we get a little bit of juiciness out of the roast beef. Next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna place it right here in this saute pan, and I have a large oven-safe saute pan. It's one of my favorites. It's pretty old, and the reason I'm doing a saute pan is because we're gonna learn how to, in another episode, we're gonna learn how to make a great sauce for this using all of the drippings and all the flavors from this beef. So I want to put some more flavors in there. I'm also going to add a little bit of celery and a little bit of onions. I'm just going to put that right in there. It looks pretty, which isn't the purpose, but it's good for a video. So here we go. We got that all in there. You can add some carrots too if you like. I sometimes think the browning on the carrots gives it a flavor I don't really enjoy, but you might. So, experiment, try a little bit. We're going to use all of this drippings and all of the little stuff that gets stuck to the edges of the pan. We're going to use that to make a really good sauce too. So for now, we're just going to learn how to roast the roast and carve it. So got my 450 degree oven. We're going to put it in, and I'll see you in a little bit. Hi everyone, we're back. Pulled our top sirloin roast out of the oven about 25 minutes ago. You might think, well, why didn't you just do that right away then? It's ready to be cut and ready for everybody to eat. Well, not quite. We need to let any protein that we put in the oven, anything we roast or even sometimes grill, we need to let it rest just for a little bit. Otherwise, what's gonna happen is we're gonna cut into it. Those juices are still moving around and everything. They're gonna be all over the cutting board, your floor, yourself, everything. A lot of people will say, wow, look at how juicy that roast is because they're seeing all this liquid around there. Problem is, look how juicy that roast was. It's not juicy anymore, everything's on the cutting board. When we do that, we're gonna get some of the juices on the cutting board, but there's gonna be a lot less than if you were to cut it right away. So wait, be patient, it's not gonna get cold, it's a big piece of meat, okay? The bigger the piece, by the way, the longer you wanna let it rest. I let a Thanksgiving turkey rest usually, up to about 45 minutes, and it's still hot when I cut into it, and the center is very hot as well as the stuffing. So what we're gonna do here, now we have a top sirloin. This one can be a little bit tricky because what we wanna do when we carve something, we wanna cut against the grain of the muscle. So if you think of what a muscle looks like, it has all those long strands. Meat is muscle and it has those strands too. What we wanna do is we wanna cut against those. Never cut along them or with them, because if you do that, the meat's gonna be stringy and a lot tougher. It's much easier when we cut them like that. If you have a more tough roast, say like a top round or something like that, you can even cut those on an angle. So you've got, say, your muscle strands running this way, cut them on what we call the bias, like this, and it'll be even more tender. So if I look at this top sirloin, which has a couple of different muscles that do move different ways, so sometimes you might have to turn the roast, and that's okay. But right now, primarily where this was cut from, I see the strands of meat going this way. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my knife, I'm gonna run it on my steel just for a minute or two, and I'm gonna cut right against that grain, okay? You can cut it thick or thin, and if you look at it, we've got our nice medium here. By the way, I used an instant read thermometer to make sure this was done. A lot of people will ask me, how long do I have to cook the meat? Well, it depends. It depends on your oven. It depends on the type of roast. It depends on the size of the roast. So many things. So what I like to do is use an instant read thermometer. And to get a nice medium like this, I cooked it to about 130 degrees. So as you can see, by cutting across the grain here, what I'm getting is these beautiful medium pieces of meat. And I'm gonna hold it up. I'm not sure how good my camera is gonna show it. But if you look, I mean, that's just a nice piece of meat. Very well seasoned because of that seasoning we put on the outside. We have our pan here. In the next episode, I'm going to teach you how to make a really great sauce out of that. A little bit of red wine won't take long at all. Again, it's not that cooking is difficult. It's really quite simple. It's just how you do it. And if you do it with care, you're going to have some great meals. So we'll see you next time, next episode. Thanks again. I'm James Simmers, Culinary Arts Instructor from Moraine Park Technical College.